Hello subscribers and non-subscribers, and welcome to a channel update video. A couple things I do want to mention in this video. First things first, I want to remind you guys that I do have a Patreon, so if you feel out of the kindness of your heart you wish to try and provide some degree of direct support to the channel, there is the ability to do that via Patreon. You guys, depending on sort of what reward tier you select, you'll get some different rewards. The first tier, you don't really get any actual reward. You just kind of get a, if you use ad block, I'll forgive you for using it. But for the $5 tier, if I actually go and pull it up, give me one moment. I really should have done this beforehand, but oh well. For the $5 tier, you get, here it is. You get 24-hour early access to special videos, i.e. Vehicles of War Thunder, for those of you guys that watched that series, which I am going to be actually probably, no, not tomorrow, let me see, probably on the 5th of April, I'll be recording the actual, the next part for Vehicles of War Thunder, which is on the Panzerkampfwagen 35T. But yeah, if you guys were to go and select the $5 tier, you would get 24-hour early access to that. You would also get your name in the credits, which I'm still sort of working on creating an actual credits page for it, so it's going to be a little while for that. For the $20 tier, you guys will get a mug with my YouTube logo on it. I do want to let you guys know that if you select that, and if you live outside of the US, please keep that pledge for multiple months, because that's $20, but to ship to Canada and be able to actually have tracking info for it, it costs $30. And the mug itself costs me, I believe it's like $17 or something for it. So yeah, that's gonna require like 2 months to actually, not even, it would actually require like 3 months to actually sort of make a profit from that for those of you guys that live outside the US. So again, yeah, if you live outside the US and you select that tier, please keep it for multiple months, because otherwise I end up taking a loss and you get a mug and I lose money. So yeah, money that I could obviously spend on doing other things like buying games, computer hardware, and the like, which is what the money from Patreon would be used for. But yeah, but I've also got a $40 tier, which you get your name on my case, which will be, those names will be updated whenever I get a new case, which I can't say how often that'll be. It may not be with every single new computer that I build, because I'm kind of cheap. I like to try and reuse components when possible, so I'd probably reuse my current case for the next couple of computer builds, unless something causes me to have to buy a new case, such as maybe a graphics card being too large for my current case, which is fairly unlikely to be the case, but nonetheless. So yeah, I've got a couple tiers there. Obviously, I'll try and make some more as I can come up with ideas. Currently, I can't really come up with anything, and it's not like I'm a good artist, so it's not like I can go and be like, hey, you'll get an art book for $10 or something like that. So that's a little out of the question, I'm afraid. And granted, it also doesn't really have anything to do with the content I upload or the content that I create. So it's kind of, even if I want to do an art book, it's not really a valuable thing. But yeah, so nonetheless, there are a couple tiers there. And so that would give me a decent amount of money that I'd be able to spend each year to buy games, upgrade components, maybe do a giveaway every so often for you guys, like maybe once a month, do a game giveaway. But the main thing for this video is that I mentioned, I believe it was in the last Star Trek Online part, where I noted that that series is going to be going on hold until I have done a fresh install of Windows. And I noted that I would not be doing a fresh install of Windows until I bought a new CPU or upgraded my CPU. And that I don't know when I would be upgrading my CPU, nor did I know what I would be upgrading it to. I have, however, decided that I'm going to actually upgrade my CPU to the Intel i7 6700K, and that I'll probably be upgrading it in about March, or whenever it is that my current school semester ends, is what I'm planning to do. Is I'm planning to sort of use the 1, maybe 2 week break that I have between semesters to actually install the new computer as well, or the new hardware, as well as go through the process of doing a fresh install of Windows, installing all my software again, and yada yada yada. But the choices there were between going with the Intel i7 6700K or going with the plan would have been actually to go with probably a Broadwell E, but as it stands right now, Broadwell E is not out, so I was looking at the Haswell E's to sort of figure out. Obviously, I would go with the entry level more than likely, because those are fairly expensive CPUs for what they are. But yeah, so I decided my current rig is used solely or almost primarily for gaming, so I'd rather go with a CPU that would have better gaming performance, period. So I decided to go with the i7 6700K. However, I am still looking at the Haswell and Broadwell E chips as well as the Zen chips that are supposed to be released in October, because I would like to, in the future, when I have the money, to actually build a separate PC for rendering. That way, I would not have to use my current rig for rendering, and I'd be able to go and still record games and stream and whatnot whenever I have things rendering. And so, and again, I'd get that money a lot faster if I were to get support via Patreon, because that would give me more money to spend. And so I'd be able to build an actual separate rendering rig much sooner with support via Patreon. But again, there's no requirement for you guys to support via Patreon, but it is appreciated. But that's what I want to let you guys know, is that, yeah, so I've come to a decision for that. However, see, I could go and buy all of those now, the CPU, the motherboard, and the RAM now. Of course, that would leave me with about $2 left in my bank account, so that's out of the question in reality. But I might end up actually buying it in April for all I know. We'll see. But if I do buy it in April, I'm not doing a fresh install of Windows as soon as I upgrade, and I'll wait until my series has what series I need right now have finished. So yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that, yeah, so I've come to a decision regarding upgrading my CPU. I know which one I'm going to get. It's just a question of when I get around to getting it. And as I said, I figure probably May, sometime in May, because my current semester I think ends around, I think the second week of May, I think. And I think they start up again on the 29th of May. But don't quote me on that. I don't actually know off the top of my head exactly when. But nonetheless, yeah, so in May is certainly what I'm thinking of. It's pretty much guaranteed that I'll probably be doing it in May. But there is the possibility that I may decide to upgrade my CPU in April. But there's no guarantee that I will do it in April. But depending on when I do it, we'll decide when I do a fresh install of Windows, which will also when I do a fresh install of Windows, just depends on whenever I finish Tom Clancy's End War, really. That's about the only series holding me back from doing one, because yeah, pretty much every other series I'd be able to at least somehow get myself very quickly back to where I was. But nonetheless, that's sort of rambling on to somewhat more relevant stuff. You guys don't really need to know all the ins and outs as to when I would get around to doing a fresh install of Windows. But yeah, so I wanted to let you guys know that I have decided when I'm going to upgrade my CPU, or I've decided what CPU I'm going to go with, but that I am still looking actually at buying a separate CPU and whatnot for doing a rendering rig. Of course, I do want to note that if you do go with the, what was it, the $40 tier where you get your name on the case, I'd probably have two sets of that. One would be for my main computer, but then of course when there's no more space on my main computer, I would go and put the rest of the names onto the rendering rig. But yeah, so I wanted to just let you guys know that, as I said, I know what CPU I'm getting, I know roughly when I'm getting it, but that I'm still looking into possibly building a separate rendering rig. However, when I will get around to building a separate rendering rig will depend on exactly how quickly I get the money to do it. And the best way to get me to be able to do that as soon as possible is via Patreon. Because, let me actually pull up, I have a Excel document that should be roughly correct. Let me see, I've got 554 right now, lost a couple, but whatever. So if all of you guys were to do, or if all 554 of my current subscribers as of recording this, that might go back up for all I know when this video actually gets rendered and uploaded. But if all 554 of you as when I'm recording this were to pledge just $1 a month, I would be looking at, assuming my calculations are correct, I'd be looking at about $6,312.60 each year from Patreon. before taxes, and I'm too lazy to put into here calculating taxes. But yeah, so that's quite a bit of money that I'd be able to spend on buying computer hardware, games, and the like. And in fact, actually, I'd be able to very easily within a year build a separate rendering rig if all 554 of you guys did just $1 a month. Of course, if you feel like going with the $40 tier, be my guest. If you feel like going with the $20 tier, be my guest. If you feel like going with the $5, be my guest. But for just $1 a month, I would get about $6,300 every year that I could spend, as I said, on computer hardware, games, whatever. In fact, I do have one goal on there that I believe it is $700 a month, but technically that doesn't have to be actually met for me to at least do the goal every so often. And that is, if I can, one second, let me pull it up so I actually have it. I keep closing Patreon and then reopening it. Oh no, it's for $800. But yeah, so again, though, it doesn't actually have to be met. I can do it every so often, even if that goal's not met. But essentially, in this case, that would be me building computers that, in the case of that goal, meet the minimum requirements for mostly AAA games and other high-profile games. And the idea would be that I'd build these computers that meet the minimum spec requirements, and then I would see what settings the game runs at, or defaults to, and how well it runs at those default settings. That way people could get an idea, if they wanted to, as to exactly how these systems, or essentially roughly how well the game performs on lower end systems. I do have another goal for building PCs that meet the recommended requirements. In the case of actually the ones that meet the recommended requirements, those would actually be done, or those computers I would actually give away. So like at the end of the video, I'd be like, okay, and now I'm giving away this computer. You can go and enter by going to here and signing up, or whatever method I would do for the giveaway. Well, for the $800 one, those, I don't know. If people want me to do giveaways for those, I would probably do giveaways, but there's no... Those, I figure most people probably have better PCs than those, or they prefer consoles anyway, so there's no real point for those PCs to be given away. But if people wanted me to, I would. But yeah, so there are I have a number of goals on here. Sadly, their new page actually doesn't allow you to see every single goal. I would love it if they had a little arrow that you could... Relax, Cameron. It was just the wind. I would definitely love it if Patreon added an arrow so that people could actually sort of switch between each goal, so they could see all the goals and not just the next goal. But whatever, it's not that big of a deal to me. But yeah, this video has actually gone longer than I had originally planned to, so that's going to be it for this video. As always, like, comment, subscribe, share, and there is a link in the description to my Patreon if you feel so inclined and are willing and capable of providing support there. Again, there is no obligation to do so, but it is appreciated because it gives me more money that I can spend for doing things for the channel. But as I said, that's going to be it for this channel update. Goodbye and farewell.